I was with Amanda for 3 years, and honestly thought she was the one. That night at my best friend Jake's birthday party at Rockwell's bar, something felt off. She kept huddling with her friends Taylor and Zoe in the corner, giving me these strange looks whenever I glanced over. I had been saving for a ring for months, planning the perfect proposal. Then as I approached the bar to grab another round of drinks, I overheard words that stopped me cold. Amanda's voice clear as day, saying something that instantly shattered my world. Before I tell you what happened next, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. If this story sounds familiar, hit that like button and subscribe, because trust me, what happened after will change how you see relationships forever. I met Amanda at a local coffee shop in downtown Portland 3 years ago. I was working on some code for a new software project my company had landed, and she accidentally spilled her latte on my laptop bag. Thankfully, no damage was done, and her genuine apology turned into a 2-hour conversation. She was beautiful, smart, and seemed down to earth with her job as a marketing coordinator. I asked for her number, and by that weekend, we were on our first official date. Those early days were magical. We clicked on so many levels, from our shared love of obscure indie films to our weekend hiking adventures in the Columbia River Gorge. 6 months in, we took our first vacation together to the California coast, driving down Highway 1 with the windows down, singing along to our favorite songs. I remember thinking how lucky I was to have found someone who seemed to fit so perfectly into my life. By our 1-year anniversary, Amanda had practically moved into my apartment. Her clothes filled half my closet, and her decorative touches made my bachelor pad feel like a real home. We hosted dinner parties for our friends, spent holidays with each other's families, and started talking about our future together. I was earning good money as a software engineer, and Amanda always expressed how secure she felt with me, how she admired my ambition and stability. Jake had been my best friend since 3rd grade. We grew up on the same street, rode bikes to school together, and remained close even when I went to Oregon State and he attended Portland State. He met Sophia at a mutual friend's wedding 2 years ago, and I had never seen him happier. When they got engaged 6 months ago, I was the first person he called. Amanda and I celebrated with them that night, and I remember thinking that would be us soon. Jake's birthday party was at Rockwell's, an upscale bar in the Pearl District, with exposed brick walls and leather booths. I had arrived with Amanda around 8, giving Jake a vintage record of his favorite band that I had tracked down from a collector in Seattle. He was genuinely moved, giving me one of those brotherly hugs that said more than words could. Looking back, I should have noticed the warning signs. Amanda had been canceling our date nights more frequently in the past month, always with vague excuses about work events or girls' nights. Her phone was perpetually face down, and she would take calls in another room. But love has a way of blinding you to the obvious, of making you rationalize behaviors you would clearly recognize as red flags in someone else's relationship. That night at the party, Amanda was wearing a new dress I had never seen before. She looked stunning but somehow distant. Within 20 minutes of arriving, she had drifted toward Taylor and Zoe, huddled in intense conversation near the far end of the bar. Taylor had always been cold toward me, sizing me up with calculating eyes whenever we met. Zoe was more friendly but seemed to follow Taylor's lead in all things. Both were single and seemed to view relationships as strategic career moves rather than partnerships. I spent most of the evening catching up with Jake and Sophia and some of our other friends, trying not to obsess over the fact that Amanda barely acknowledged me. I kept telling myself we would talk later, that maybe she was just excited to see her friends. I even thought about pulling her aside and telling her about the ring I had been looking at, wondering if that would bring back the warmth that had been missing lately. As the night progressed, the knot in my stomach grew tighter. I watched Amanda laugh a little too enthusiastically at something Taylor said, touch the arm of Jake's coworker Brian a little too familiarly. Each observation added to my uneasiness, but I pushed the feelings down. This was Jake's night, and I did not want to create any drama. Little did I know that the real drama was about to unfold in a way I could never have imagined. I headed to the bar to order another round of drinks for our table. Jake wanted to do a birthday toast with everyone, and I volunteered to get the beverages. As I waited for the bartender, I realized I was standing just a few feet from Amanda and her friends. They had not noticed me, partially hidden by a tall guy ordering complicated cocktails. That is when I heard it words that would replay in my mind for months to come. "So when are you finally going to dump?" Les Taylor asked, her voice slightly slurred from too many martinis. I froze my hand mid-air, trying to get the bartender's attention. I should have walked away, made my presence known anything but stand there silently, but shock rooted me to the spot. Amanda laughed. A sound I once found melodious, but now seemed cruel. "Do not worry, he is just my beta placeholder, good for paying bills, but not marriage material. I am just using him until someone better comes along." The words hit me like physical blows. Beta placeholder, not marriage material, using me. Each phrase hammered into my chest, making it difficult to breathe. Zoe giggled. "He is totally obsessed with you, though. I bet he is already looking at rings." "Probably," Amanda said with a dismissive wave. "Let him waste his money. I will just sell it when I move on. You should see how he looks at me like some puppy. It is almost pathetic how eager he is to please me." Taylor leaned in closer. "Have you heard from Ryan recently? Your ex still seems hung up on you from what I saw on Instagram." My stomach lurched at the mention of her ex-boyfriend, a corporate lawyer she had dated before me. Amanda had always claimed their breakup was mutual and final. "We have been texting," Amanda admitted, lowering her voice slightly. "He just got that promotion at his firm. Partner track now with the salary to match. He wants to meet up next week to catch up." "And Les has no idea?" Zoe asked, eyebrows raised. "Of course not. Les thinks we are solid. He pays for everything, never complains when I buy expensive things, and his job is stable. He is the perfect placeholder while I figure out my options. Ryan might be ready to get serious now that he has made partner." The three of them clinked glasses, laughing at my expense, completely unaware that I was standing just feet away, having my entire reality shattered. 3 years of memories instantly recontextualized. Every "I love you," every promise of forever, every intimate moment suddenly felt fraudulent. I somehow managed to order the drinks, my voice sounding foreign to my own ears. My mind raced through every moment of our relationship, searching for signs I had missed. The expensive gifts she always seemed to expect. The way she would casually mention how her friends' boyfriends took them to luxury resorts or bought them designer bags. Her subtle disappointment when I talked about financial responsibility and saving for our future. I remembered how she had reacted when I told her about the promotion I received 6 months ago. She had seemed more excited about the increased salary than the challenging work I would be doing. At the time, I thought she was just proud of me, but now I wondered if she had been mentally calculating how much more she could extract from me. As I waited for the drinks, I caught Jake looking at me with concern from across the room. Had he noticed the change in my demeanor? Could he tell from across a crowded bar that my world was crumbling? I tried to compose my face into something resembling normalcy, but I felt like I was wearing a mask that was rapidly disintegrating. The bartender placed the tray of drinks in front of me, but I could not move. My legs felt leaden, my chest tight, with the effort of containing the storm brewing inside me. I glanced back at Amanda, now laughing at something on Zoe's phone, completely carefree, while I stood just feet away, devastated. I made my way back to our table, somehow setting down the drinks mechanically. Jake immediately picked up on my mood. "You okay, man? You look like you just saw a ghost." I could not even formulate a response. The sounds of the party seemed to dim around me as I struggled to process what I had just heard. I excused myself and headed to the restroom, needing a moment alone to collect my thoughts. Once inside, I splashed cold water on my face and stared at my reflection in the mirror. Who was this person looking back at me? A beta placeholder, a walking ATM, a pathetic puppy. The cruel words echoed in my head, mingling with memories of tender moments I had thought were genuine. My phone buzzed with a text from Jake. "Seriously, what happened? You look wrecked." I did not know how to respond. How do you compress the implosion of your entire relationship into a text message? How do you explain that the woman you thought you would marry sees you as nothing more than a convenience, a stepping stone to someone better? As the initial shock began to subside, a different emotion started to take its place. Anger. Not the hot, explosive kind that makes you do something reckless, but a cold, clarifying anger that burns away confusion and leaves certainty in its wake. I began to mentally tally the fortune I had spent on Amanda over our 3 years together. The weekend getaways, the expensive dinners, the birthday gifts, the new laptop, when hers accidentally broke right after the newest model was released. All while I was diligently saving for our future, for a ring, for a down payment on a house. All for someone who saw me as temporary, as insufficient. I remembered comments she had made about my career, how she would subtly compare me to her friends' boyfriends who worked in finance or law. At the time, I had brushed it off as harmless conversation, but now I recognized it for what it was: ongoing evaluation of my worth in dollars and status. Standing in that bathroom, I made a decision. I would not cause a scene at my best friend's birthday party. I would not give Amanda the satisfaction of seeing me break down. But I would not spend another day being someone's backup plan, someone's financial safety net. Not one more dollar, not one more minute of my life. I walked back into the party with newfound clarity. The music was still playing, people still laughing and drinking, but everything felt different. I watched Amanda from across the room, still engrossed in conversation with her friends, occasionally scanning the crowd but not looking for me with any urgency. The sight of her beautiful face now filled me with a strange mixture of pain and determination. Jake intercepted me before I could decide my next move. He pulled me aside to a quiet corner near the fire exit. "Seriously, Les, what is going on? You look like you just found out someone died." I took a deep breath. Jake had been my friend for over 20 years. If anyone deserved the truth, it was him. I just overheard Amanda talking to her friends at the bar. I said, my voice surprisingly steady. She called me her beta placeholder, said I am good for paying bills but not marriage material. She is apparently just using me until someone better comes along, maybe her ex Ryan, who she has been texting behind my back. Jake's expression transformed from concern to shock, then settled into barely contained anger. "Are you absolutely sure that is what you heard?" "Heard it clear as day, man." Her exact words. She and her friends were laughing about how I might be looking at rings, how she would just sell it when she moves on. Jake ran a hand through his hair, clearly processing this information. Sophia has had suspicions about Amanda for a while, but she did not want to say anything without proof. She noticed Amanda getting really friendly with some guy at the gym they both go to. The revelation was another blow, but somehow less painful than it would have been an hour ago. Of course, there had been signs others could see. Love really is blind. "What are you going to do?" Jake asked. I looked across the room at Amanda, now taking selfies with Taylor and Zoe. "I am going to end it, right now. But I need a small favor first." I explained what I wanted to do. Jake listened, then nodded slowly. "That is actually pretty restrained considering what she has done. I have got your back, whatever you need." I approached the bar and spoke quietly to the bartender, slipping him an extra $20 for his cooperation. Then, with my heart pounding but my resolve firm, I walked directly to Amanda's group. Amanda noticed me approaching and quickly arranged her face into the affectionate smile I had once treasured. "There you are, babe. I was wondering where you disappeared to." Her voice was sweet, her eyes giving nothing away. How had I never noticed the performance before? "We need to talk," I said, my voice calm despite the adrenaline coursing through my veins. "Can it wait?" "We were just about to take some pictures for Instagram," she replied, gesturing to her friends. "Actually, it cannot wait. I think we should discuss what you just said about me being your beta placeholder, good for paying bills but not marriage material. Or maybe about how you have been texting your ex behind my back." The color drained from Amanda's face. Taylor and Zoe exchanged alarmed glances. "I do not know what you are talking about," Amanda stammered, but her eyes darted nervously to her friends. "I was at the bar when you were talking. I heard everything, Amanda. Every single word about using me until someone better comes along. About selling the ring if I proposed." Amanda's expression shifted from shock to defensive anger. "You were eavesdropping on a private conversation. That is so like you, Les, always so insecure. I noticed people nearby starting to pay attention to our conversation. The music seemed to have gotten quieter, or maybe it was just my heightened awareness of the moment. Calling it eavesdropping is an interesting way to reframe the fact that you were publicly discussing using me for my money," I replied, maintaining my composure. "We were just joking around," Taylor interjected. "Amanda does not really feel that way." "Right, Amanda." Amanda seized the lifeline. "Of course we were just joking. You know how girls talk when we are together. It does not mean anything." I looked directly into Amanda's eyes, searching for any trace of the woman I thought I had known. "You said," and I quote, "Do not worry, he is just my beta placeholder. Good for paying bills, but not marriage material. I am just using him until someone better comes along." That was you joking. Amanda's face hardened as she realized denial would not work. She switched tactics. "Well, what did you expect? You are so boring, Les. So predictable. Always talking about saving for the future instead of living in the moment. Always choosing the safe option. Is it any wonder I might want someone more exciting?" Her words were designed to hurt, to make me doubt myself, to turn her betrayal into my failure. 6 hours ago, they might have worked. Now they simply confirmed what I needed to know. I noticed Jake and Sophia watching from nearby, ready to intervene if needed. But this was my moment to reclaim my self-respect. "You know what is interesting, Amanda? I have been saving for something specific. Not just our future in general." I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone, showing her a picture of the engagement ring I had been considering. I was going to propose next month on our anniversary. Amanda's expression changed instantly, calculation replacing anger in her eyes. I could almost see her reconsidering her options, weighing the security of marriage to me against the potential of someone with more status or money. "Les, baby. I did not mean any of that. You know I love you. We have been together for 3 years, she said, her voice softening to the tone she used when she wanted something expensive. "We can work through this." The bartender approached with a small tray, exactly as I had arranged. On it was a single key ring with Amanda's keys to my apartment, the cute bunny keychain I had given her on our second Christmas together, now looking like a symbol of my own naivete. I picked up the keys and held them for a moment, feeling their weight one last time. Then I placed them on the bar counter with a definitive click. These locks will be changed by morning. I am nobody's placeholder. The silence that followed felt like it stretched for an eternity. Amanda's mouth opened and closed without sound, her practiced composure finally cracking. Taylor looked uncomfortable while Zoe stared at her drink, refusing to make eye contact with anyone. "You cannot be serious," Amanda finally managed. "Where am I supposed to go tonight? I imagine Ryan might be available," I replied. "Or perhaps one of your other options you have been keeping warm while using me for my stable job and willingness to pay for everything." Amanda's face contorted with anger, the mask of sweetness completely gone. "You will regret this. Nobody walks away from me. You will call me tomorrow, begging for another chance." "No, I will not," I said with absolute certainty. "Good luck finding your next placeholder." I turned and walked away, feeling lighter with each step. I caught Jake's eye as I passed, and he gave me a subtle nod of respect. Sophia mouthed "call us tomorrow" with a sympathetic smile. As I pushed open the door to leave Rockwell's, I heard Amanda's voice rise in pitch as she tried to control the narrative, already telling anyone who would listen that I was overreacting, that I had emotional problems, that she had been planning to break up with me anyway. But her words no longer had power over me. The cool night air hit my face as I stepped outside, and for the first time in hours, I took a deep, unencumbered breath. The pain was still there, sharp and real, but alongside it was something unexpected: relief. The drive home that night was surreal. I alternated between moments of overwhelming pain and strange, almost euphoric clarity. 3 years of my life had been based on a lie, but at least now I knew the truth. No more wondering about Amanda's distant behavior or explaining away her inconsistencies. The truth, however painful, was oddly freeing. Entering my apartment felt strange, knowing it was still filled with her things: her favorite coffee mug in the kitchen sink, her novels on the bookshelf, her expensive face creams in the bathroom. Each item, a small reminder of the life I had thought we were building together. I did not sleep that night. Instead, I methodically packed Amanda's belongings into boxes, careful not to damage anything despite my anger. I was determined to maintain my dignity throughout this process, to be the better person even when no one was watching. By morning, I had changed the locks as promised and arranged for a mutual friend to coordinate the return of her things. The messages started coming in around dawn. First texts expressing disbelief that I was overreacting to girl talk, then voicemails alternating between tearful apologies and angry accusations. I responded only once with a clear message. All communication going forward should be about logistics for retrieving your belongings, nothing else. The first few weeks were the hardest. Grief came in unexpected waves, triggered by mundane things. The restaurant we used to frequent, her favorite song on the radio, the empty side of the bed. But beneath the sadness was a growing sense of self-respect. I had stood up for myself when it mattered. I had refused to be someone's backup plan. I threw myself into work earning praise for a new algorithm I developed that significantly improved our product's efficiency. I joined a local climbing gym, challenging myself physically in ways I had always wanted to, but never prioritized. Each small accomplishment helped rebuild the confidence that Amanda had systematically undermined. Jake and Sophia were lifelines during this period, having me over for dinner, when they sensed I needed company, giving me space when I needed solitude. Jake never said "I told you so," even though he later admitted he had harbored doubts about Amanda's sincerity for months. About a month after the breakup, Taylor reached out unexpectedly. Over coffee, she confessed that Amanda had been manipulating not just me but all of her friends. She showed me text messages where Amanda had bragged about the gifts and dinners she could extract from me, how she had a system for getting what she wanted, while keeping me believing I was special to her. It was painful to see, but it confirmed that walking away was the only self-respecting choice I could have made. As months passed, mutual friends reported that Amanda had tried to damage my reputation, telling elaborate stories about my alleged emotional instability or controlling behavior. But her efforts backfired when consistent inconsistencies in her stories made people question her credibility. Living well truly proved to be the best revenge as I focused on personal growth rather than retaliation. 6 months after that fateful night, I felt ready to dip my toe back into dating. I met Cassandra at a friend's housewarming party, a pediatric nurse with a genuine laugh and zero pretense. Our first date was simple coffee and a walk along the waterfront. But I found myself relaxed in a way I had never been with Amanda. There was no performance, no calculation, just authentic conversation and mutual interest. The most unexpected encounter came almost exactly a year after our breakup. I was leaving a restaurant after a business dinner when I saw Amanda waiting for a table in the bar area. She looked essentially the same, still beautiful, but her smile seemed brittle when she spotted me. She approached with the confidence of someone who believes their own revisionist history. "Les, you look good," she said, assessing me with those calculating eyes I now recognized clearly. "I have thought about reaching out so many times. We should catch up sometime." I felt nothing but a distant pity for her. "I am good, Amanda. I hope things work out for you, but I am not interested in catching up." A flash of genuine surprise crossed her face, as if the concept of me not wanting her back had never occurred to her. "You cannot still be upset about one stupid comment I made at a party a year ago. People say things they do not mean all the time." "It was not what you said that night," I replied honestly. "It was that night finally showed me who you really are and who I was becoming by accepting how you treated me. I wish you well, but my life has moved on." I walked away before she could respond, not out of anger or pain, but simply because I had nothing more to say. That brief interaction crystallized how much I had grown since that night at Rockwell's. The most valuable lesson from that painful experience wasn't about Amanda or even relationships in general. It was about recognizing my own worth, about understanding that love should add to your life, not diminish it, about having the courage to walk away from a situation that compromises your dignity, no matter how much you have invested in it. Looking back, I can see that relationship for what it was, a necessary lesson in self-respect. Amanda taught me more about my boundaries than any healthy relationship could have. And while I would never choose to relive that pain, I am strangely grateful for the clarity it eventually brought me. The life I have built since then is authentic and fulfilling. My career continues to flourish, my friendships are deeper, and my relationship with Cassandra is based on mutual respect and genuine affection. Most importantly, I have learned to value myself enough to expect better treatment from others. Sometimes the most painful endings lead to the most important beginnings. Sometimes you have to be brave enough to close a door forever before the right one can open. And sometimes the person you thought was breaking your heart is actually setting you free. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved when you discovered they were not who they claimed to be? Share your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more real-life experiences. And if you know someone who might need to hear this message about valuing themselves, share this video with them. Thanks for listening. And remember that you deserve someone who sees you as their first choice, never their placeholder.